that's how I do it. It's ready to go fish. I will go fish with it just like this. All right, what's up guys? I'm out here in the garage with my new Lunkers TV rod and the Shimano Curado DC reel. I'm about to get it spooled up with some fresh braid. Thought I'd show you guys how I do it. This isn't the best way to do it. This isn't me telling you this is the way you should do it. This is just me showing you how I do it. I had a couple people reach out to me, say they might be interested in seeing how I set up one of my reels. So that's what we're gonna do. All right, it's a little bright. I had to go get my shades on. So obviously, this video is going to be pertaining to bait casting reels. You may have heard old schoolers call them open face reels. That's what this video is going to be about. Shimano Curado DC digitally controlled fishing reel. First things first, anytime you put braid on a baitcaster, if you try to just tie straight braid onto this spool, it's going to slip. So first thing I always do is I run a monofilament backing. So I just take some cheap mono and I spool that onto the reel just enough to cover it up and give the braid something to dig into. I'll show you guys how I do that right here. Whoops. All right, so this is normally the monofilament backing that I'll use. It's just Zebco 12-pound Omniflex. It's like $1.78 for 700 yards. So cheapest of the cheap right here. I'm not gonna be using this for anything but a backing. Starting at the tip of my rod, I'm just gonna take the line, feed it all the way through every guide, running back down here to the reel. All right, okay, so now that I have my monofilament line threaded down the guides of my rod, coming back towards my reel, I'm gonna go through the line guide on the reel. Make sure you pull out plenty of slack. Then on the Shimano, you'll see there's a little hole. Stick the mono in that little hole there. Reel just a little bit. That's gonna bring your line around your spool for you. Now I can just grab it, tie it off. Now for me, a simple hard knot always works here. I'm not sure if that's right. If anybody knows what kind of knot I should be tying right here, monofilament to my spool, let me know. I usually just throw a good hard double knot down there and then put one right on top of it for good measure. You don't want there to be too big of a knot in there because the line has to run over the top of it, but this is what I always do. It seems to work all right. Clip that off, tag line. Now I have my monofilament tied onto my spool, my reel, and I'm just gonna start reeling that in. Should have no problem sticking to the spool of the reel and rolling up. I've got this spool sitting over here behind this stuff, kind of keeping tension on it. And now I'm just gonna reel this bad boy up until I get a nice even coating. Keep tension on this spool until you get enough on there. All right, now as you can see, I have a nice monofilament backing ran onto the reel. It's gonna give something for that braid to dig into, keep it from slipping. Now you just wanna go ahead and clip this. The next thing we're gonna do is tie a connection knot from our monofilament to our main line, our braid. I'm gonna use this opportunity to bust out this super slick V2. I've never used this before. Normally I just use regular Power Pro super slick, but this is the V2, so let's go for it. Feels nice. All right. So now what I'm gonna do is tie these two pieces of line together. I'm gonna use an Alberto knot. I'm not gonna teach you how to tie an Alberto knot. If you wanna know how, there's a bunch of videos out there on how to tie that, but I'm just gonna go ahead and get it done. Tying the mono to the braid. Okay, so now that I have my main line braid tied onto the monofilament backing, the next thing to do is to just take this braid and spool it on up, reel it on. You wanna keep tension on the braid the whole time. I'm gonna throw the braid up here onto one of these little pegs and keep tension on it the whole time. But all I'm gonna do is just reel her on up. I think I can get it done from right here. Got nice tension on the spool over there. Wheel her on in. Sometimes it'll help to take like a paper towel or a regular towel. Keep a little bit of tension on that braid right here on the rod. And it'll also keep that coating from getting on your fingers. Rock and roll. Careful if you're holding that with your fingers. Don't go too fast because it will burn you. All right. You guys can see an example of what I was talking about there on the napkin, that coating coming off a little bit. There's the reel, all spooled up, good to go. Fresh Braid, Power Pro V2, 50 pound. Nice, nice and tight. Take my spool off the peg, clip my line free. Go ahead and throw my rubber band back on there. I know why they put a rubber band on there, because it works. I started using them. Throw that back in the box, back on the rack. All right, generally I will use a 15-pound fluorocarbon leader. On this specific setup, I'm gonna go with 17-pound monofilament. I'm getting low on my fluorocarbon, honestly, so monofilament leader is gonna have to do on this one. I'm gonna tie my leader to my mainline braid using the same knot, Alberto. Boom, there it is, monofilament secured to the braid using an Alberto knot. Clip those tag ends off nice and close as you can get them. You need a good pair of scissors to do that with braid. Last little secret, get that fuzz, singe it, barely. Good to go. Nice and strong. Okay, so now that I have my main line secured to my leader line, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the chatterbait from our previous tackle unboxing video that we built out. 3/8 ounce natural color chatterbait with a Guggen Baits Bandito bug trailer on there. I'm gonna tie that onto that monofilament. That'll be a good option to have tied on, something moving, make a little noise. The knot that I use most of the time to tie my baits onto my leader line, improved clinch knot. That's just the knot that I always use. It's the knot that my dad taught me. Super simple. Like I said, I'm not gonna teach you how to tie it, but if you wanna know, that's the knot. Boom. Check that line one last time for nicks. Feels good to go to me. And there it is, guys. That is how I personally spool up and rig a brand new bait casting setup. That's how I do it. It's ready to go fish. I will go fish with it just like this, with this chatterbait tied on right here, and I'll make sure I film it and let you guys know how it does. But that's it for those of you that wanted to know. I hope you enjoyed this small, short tutorial on how I spool up a new bait casting reel. Super simple, really easy, anybody could do it. No secret, no magic, no mystical science behind this, man. But people were asking, so I thought I'd share that with you guys. Check out the new setup. It's a duplicate of my previous setup. If you haven't seen the videos on that, go back and check them out. Had a lot of fun setting this thing up with you guys today, and I can't wait to go catch a fish with it. Stay tuned for that video coming to you guys in the near future. That's gonna do it for today. Make sure you go down below and subscribe so you catch all my future content, and I'll see you guys on the next one. That's how I do it. It's ready to go fish. I will go fish with it just like this.